The 2024 Australian Open final begins in silence. The chair umpire calls the score. A camera drone hovers above the center court, broadcasting to millions. On the first serve, a player's shoe squeaks against the blue plexicushion. That sound is part of a $2 billion industry. Tennis appears as a simple contest of athleticism and will. Two players, one ball, a rectangular court, but the financial reality contradicts this simplicity. The sport operates on a scale comparable to major entertainment franchises. Tournament broadcast rights, sponsorship deals with luxury brands, and exclusive equipment contracts generate staggering revenue. A single major tournament can inject over $400 million into its host city's economy. This money flows toward a singular purpose: to decide which player can best execute a sequence of physical actions under extreme pressure. Every grunt, every stroke, every bead of sweat is monetized. The industry's immense value rests entirely on the outcome of these combative exchanges. Yet for the athletes in the arena, the calculus is different. Victory is not measured in revenue shares or television ratings. It is measured in the execution of a plan, one shot at a time. This is the central tension of modern tennis. A global economic engine depends on a contest decided by milliseconds and millimeters. To understand that contest, one must look past the money and the fame, to the core mechanism of the game itself. The deliberate, devastating combination of shots designed to break an opponent. But what is a shot combo exactly? In its simplest form, it is a sequence of two or more planned strokes, designed to move an opponent out of position to create a winning opportunity. It is not a lucky series of shots, it is a premeditated tactical chain. The first shot sets a trap, the second shot springs it. Think of it as a short, violent chess game played at over 100 miles per hour. The core components are always the same: a setup shot, a transitional shot, and a put-away. The classic example is the 1-2 punch. A deep cross-court forehand to pull the opponent wide, followed by a sharp forehand down the line into the open court. That is a combo. Its role in modern tennis is fundamental. It is the primary weapon for converting a neutral rally into a decisive point. In an era where athletes are faster and defenses are stronger, waiting for a single spectacular winner is a losing strategy. Victory is engineered through these repeated, high-percentage sequences. Every top player's game is built on a portfolio of these combos, drilled for thousands of hours. Ready to be deployed the instant a specific ball arrives at a specific height, with a specific spin. It is the language of control in a chaotic sport. This is the problem that created tennis combos. The game had become predictable. For decades, the path to greatness was clear. Master one weapon to an absolute degree. A player like Pete Sampras had an unreturnable serve. Rafael Nadal developed a forehand that could spin opponents off the court. But this created a strategic dead end. If an opponent knew a single shot was coming, they could prepare. They could stand further back or shift their stance. The weapon, no matter how powerful, could be anticipated. And anticipation is the beginning of a counter. The game became a series of isolated, powerful exchanges, waiting for an error. It was a high-stakes duel but a predictable one. Players became specialists, and specialists are easier to solve. A coach could devise a simple, if difficult, plan. Avoid the forehand, attack the backhand, run the big server side to side. The chess match was limited to a few obvious moves. The need for something more complex, something that could break this stalemate, grew. The sport demanded a way to dismantle a world-class specialist, not just survive their best shot. The answer wasn't a better weapon, it was a better sequence of weapons. The combo was born from this pressure. It was the strategic solution to a game that had become too easy to read. So if specialization made players predictable, how do they break the pattern? The answer is a sequence engineered to remove an opponent's options, one shot at a time. It begins with a trigger. A specific ball, like a weak second serve to the backhand, presents the opening. The first shot, the setup, is not about winning the point. It's about dictating the geometry. A deep cross-court forehand forces the opponent wide, pulling them out of position. This creates the opening. The next shot, the attack, exploits that created space. A sharp down-the-line winner isn't possible from the center of the court. But from that stretched position, it becomes the only logical move. Finally, the put-away shot capitalizes on the opponent's desperate reply. A volley at the net or an easy drive into the open court finishes the sequence. This isn't random genius, it's a mechanical chain. Each shot narrows the opponent's possible responses, like closing doors in a hallway until there's only one exit left. Roger Federer's classic combo, a forehand inside-out to push the opponent right, followed by a forehand inside-in winner back to the left, is a perfect example. The first shot wasn't the winner. It manufactured the conditions for the second one to be unreturnable. The court became a chessboard, and the combo was a forced checkmate in 3 moves. So a player masters these sequences, they become weapons, but what happens next? How does that translate from a practice court drill to a career-defining win? The impact is not subtle. In modern tennis, a player's catalog of reliable combos directly dictates their ceiling. Consider a Grand Slam final. The score is locked deep in a 5th set. Both athletes are physically exhausted. At this moment, instinct and habit take over. The player who can instinctively launch into a proven high-percentage combo, a wide serve to pull the opponent off the court, followed by a down-the-line winner into the open space, just win a point. They win the mental war, they seize a match. And for the player on the receiving end, knowing a devastating combo is coming, but being powerless to stop it, is a uniquely demoralizing experience. It shifts entire matches. This translates directly to rankings and longevity. A player with one dominant combo, like a big serve followed by a forehand put-away, can rise quickly. But opponents study that, they find counters. The players who endure at the top, like Novak Djokovic or Iga Swiatek, are combo architects. They have multiple sequences they can deploy based on the opponent, the surface, and the moment. Their game is a layered puzzle. This versatility builds consistent results across all tournaments and all seasons. It turns flashy shot makers into consistent champions. A career is no longer just about having the best single shot. It is about owning the best chains of shots and knowing precisely when to trigger them. The leaderboard is, in effect, a ranking of strategic programmers. The dominance of combos did not last long in the dark. A new player entered the coaching box, armed not with a racket but with a server. This was the data analytics revolution. For decades, a player's tendencies were locked in a coach's memory, a collection of vague hunches. Now every shot in every match is captured, tagged, and fed into databases. Companies like TennisViz and IBM SlamTracker dissect play into cold, hard probabilities. They don't just see that Rafael Nadal likes to hit a heavy forehand. They calculate that from a specific position on the ad court. He will go down the line 78% of the time. And that this shot will be followed by a cross-court backhand 63% of the time. What was a player's signature, instinctive pattern became a predictable sequence of percentages. This data arms the opposition with a counter playbook. A coach like Craig O'Shaughnessy, a pioneer in tennis analytics, built entire game plans on these numbers. The strategy became simple: force the opponent onto their weaker, less practiced combo path. If a player's favorite kill pattern starts with a deep return to their backhand, you serve wide to their forehand instead. You disrupt the trigger. The game shifted from merely executing one's own best shots to systematically dismantling the opponent's preferred chain of shots. The combo, once a weapon of surprise, now had its blueprint published for all to see. But this reliance on data creates a fierce debate. Critics argue that tennis is being sterilized. The sport's essential drama, they say, comes from human instinct and spontaneous genius. Reducing a player's patterns to percentages risks turning a contest into a predictable mechanical puzzle. The magic of an improvised shot, the raw response to pressure, cannot be captured in a spreadsheet. When every tactical decision is pre-programmed from the bench, the soul of the one-on-one battle evaporates. The player becomes less an artist and more a technician executing a script. This tension is not abstract, it has a face: Roger Federer. His entire era, before Hawkeye and advanced analytics dominated the coaching box, is often held up as the peak of instinctive, creative tennis. His game was built on unpredictable combinations and feel, not on optimized percentages. Modern players, by contrast, can appear locked into their data-proved patterns, afraid to deviate from the statistically safest play. Matches can feel like a collision of two algorithms rather than two personalities. The fear is that overanalysis creates a homogenized style. If every coach has access to the same data on every opponent, players might converge on the same optimal risk-averse strategies. The wild, low-percentage shot that defines a career highlight reel becomes an act of rebellion against the machines. The question hangs over the modern game. Is this evolution making tennis smarter, or is it simply making it colder? This pattern, identifying a dominant strategy, mastering it, and then developing a counterweapon, isn't unique to tennis. It's the fundamental engine of competition itself. Every competitive system, from chess to warfare to finance, follows this same cycle of innovation and response. In tennis, for decades, the dominant strategy was raw power. Then came the counter of topspin and relentless baseline rallies. The response to that was the netrusher's volley, and the counter to the volley was the perfected passing shot. Each new tactic wasn't an accident. It was a direct solution to a specific problem posed by the previous champion's method. The tennis shot combo is simply the latest, most granular expression of this eternal arms race. It reveals a universal truth. In any high-stakes environment, stagnation is defeat. A player or any competitor cannot simply do one thing brilliantly forever. The opposition will study it, decode it, and engineer a precise method to break it down. Success, therefore, belongs not to the player with the single best weapon, but to the player who can most fluidly chain their weapons together, adapting the sequence in real time. It's a move from static power to intelligent pressure. This transforms our understanding of athletic genius. It's no longer just about physical gifts or mental fortitude alone. It's about strategic plasticity. The greatest champions are those who can see the game not as a series of isolated points, but as a constantly evolving puzzle, where every shot they hit is both an answer to the last question and the setup for the next. The combo is the language of that conversation, but this evolution is not slowing down. The next pressure on the combo system comes not from players, but from machines. Artificial intelligence and advanced biomechanics are beginning to predict what humans cannot see. An AI system developed by researchers at Stanford can now analyze thousands of hours of match footage. It doesn't just track shots, it predicts them. By modeling a player's biomechanical data, like shoulder rotation, angle, and weight transfer, these systems can forecast the probable end of a combo sequence before the player even decides. This creates a potential future where a coach's tablet, fed by courtside sensors, flashes a warning. Opponent's cross-court backhand setup indicates an 87% probability of a drop shot follow-up in 3 shots. The foundational element of a combo surprise is mathematically eroded. Meanwhile, biomechanical labs like the one at the Australian Institute of Sport are deconstructing the physical cost. They attach reflective markers to athletes and use motion capture cameras to measure the exact torque on a knee during a specific recovery step after a sprint volley combo. The data reveals which brilliant sequences are also career-shortening gambles. This knowledge forces a brutal calculation. The most devastating combos might be too physically expensive to use regularly. The game's strategic soul, the instinctive, creative construction of points, now faces quantification. Mastery is being measured in data points and load management, not just trophies. The combo, once a work of art, risks becoming a solvable equation. The modern game, beneath the roar of the crowd and the blur of yellow felt, lies a simple, engineered truth. Victory is no longer a question of who hits the single most spectacular shot. It is a forensic process. A premeditated sequence of cause and effect, built shot by shot, designed to dismantle a specific opponent on a specific day. The serve out wide is not an isolated weapon. It is the first move in a chain, pulling the returner into a vulnerable position, setting up the inside-out forehand that opens the court, which in turn creates the angle for the put-away volley. Each link is forged in data and repetition. This is precision-engineered victory. It is the logical endpoint of a sport that has systematized creativity itself. The player is no longer just an athlete. They are an architect, building points from a library of practice combinations, each one a solution to a problem the opponent's own game presents. The court becomes a chessboard, the rally a calculated dialogue. And so the ultimate insight is not about tennis. It is about competition at its highest level. When margins are this thin, when talent pools are this deep, the difference is no longer found in raw power or instinct. It is found in the design. In the deliberate, almost surgical construction of pressure point by point, until the structure of the opponent's game cracks. In the end, the champion is not the one who plays the game. They are the one who engineers it.